Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. We're going to talk about the Green New Deal today. The Green New Deal had its origination in the Green Party, and it seemed like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has co-opted this Green New Deal. Now, I am not a fan of people co-opting ideas without giving the original people credit for the ideas. More importantly, going to the original foundations of that idea and get their support and get their help. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, my district representative, who I will be confronting about this situation, have not given Jill Stein any credit, haven't said anything about it, the Green New Deal. But yet people all over the country are excited about AOC's Green New Deal. But we're going to go into detail on this Green New Deal because this Green New Deal did not originate from her. It originated from the Green Party. Now, I go a little further than the Green Party in retrospect, if you really go down to the foundations, but the Green Party picked up this green idea, ran with it in 2012 and 2016. Now, here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC for short. She had picked up that mantle of the Green New Deal and made it a media sensation. This is what I hate about the media. Because this lady was running on the platform, and because they wouldn't allow her to be in the debates, they could not get that message of the Green New Deal across the board. Now, I have to let you know, knowing Jill Stein in our heart, it doesn't matter as long as they get out there. But that's not the point. The point is give credit where credit is due. Don't act like you came up with that idea, and don't act like you birthed it. But we're going to look at this a little bit and go into detail about the Green New Deal, the real deal. There's a Green New Deal, and there is the Green New Deal. The Green Party has the Green New Deal. AOC has a Green New Deal that, in my opinion, doesn't go far enough, and I think it should go far enough. That's why I think AOC need to start talking publicly about the originator of the green idea and who really been pushing this for a while and connecting with Jill Stein and the Green Party. Take off the party hat. Stop trying to make this a Democratic PowerPoint and make this a national PowerPoint, because it needs to be a national PowerPoint, and give her the credit. Bring her to the forefront, regardless of what people say about Jill Stein, which is most of them a bunch of lies, and give her credit and work together with the Green Party to establish the Green New Deal. If you don't do that, and I'm going to mention to this when she come back to my district and we have eye to eye, then that means you're fake, you're fraud, you're copycat, you're biter, in the words of hip hop, you're a Xeroxer, and that is not cool. And you should not do this. Being a woman of character who you want to try to gain support from, do the right thing. Let's check out this Green New Deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into detail about Jill Stein's Green New Deal. Then we're going to go into a little bit about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I just want to say, my whole point is this: the foundations of the Green New Deal. Who really pushed that? Democrats was not trying to push that at all. They had talked about a Green New Deal, but really haven't had any foundations or any real grit to the Green New Deal for its policies, what need to be implemented, how they need to change the structure of our government to be able to finance the opportunity to put our environment back in the position where it need to be. Now, I have a friend named Sandy Scholes, and I never really did too many one-on-one interviews, but I may make her my first guest on this show. And she really knows about the climate situation. I'm not that person, but she really is very in depth about it. And one day I'm going to have her on the show to talk to you about it. But here's Jill Stein. This is back in 2016 when she was running for president. She pushed the Green New Deal. She pushed that when she were running in 2012 and 2016. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez goes into politics in 2018 and 2019, and she started pushing it. knowing very well, and I can't wait to talk to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about the foundation of the Green New Deal and why you're going to always have a Green New Deal versus the Green New Deal. And Jill Stein is the Green New Deal, and they should partner up to make this happen regardless of party. This is saving America. But let's listen to Jill Stein.
We're really seeing an energy policy under Obama and the Democrats, so-called all of the above, which has really been worse for the environment than under George Bush. It's really created a situation where the U.S. is now the #1 producer of fossil fuels around the world. We can't keep using this failed policy of silencing ourselves with this politics of fear. It's time to forget the lesser evil, stand up and fight for the greater good, like our lives depend on it, because they do. They would like us to think that we have to choose between the economy and the environment. Actually, we can only fix them together. And we can do that by really calling this the state of emergency it is and creating a national emergency program to put everyone back to work, transitioning the economy on an emergency basis to 100% wind, water, and sun by 2030. So there's a win-win here.
Now, a lot of people sleep on Jill Stein, but she's a very smart, intellectual woman. To me, during that race between her, Clinton and Trump, Clinton and Trump should have been canceled out. Bernie should have been the nominee at the time, but Jill Stein was the second best, if not, to me, a little stronger than Bernie when it came to platforms and policies. And the reach of those platforms and policy went way beyond Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm quite sure Bernie Sanders would have added more to his platform, but Jill Stein and the Green Party always had a robust platform. But the thing is, the two media outlets, the media outlets, the mainstream media outlets, and the two-party system don't want you to know about them because they're afraid that you'll gravitate toward their policies. Just like right now, all the policies for Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, universal health care. Jill Stein have been talking about that a long time, way before Bernie Sanders got in the race. And now that is the most popular thing right now. And therefore, they're going to try to shut Jill Stein down now, because if she run for president and find out those things always been with the Green Party, they're going to get a lot of support. But
here today for News to Share, and she has just announced her 2016 presidential run on the Green Party. And you spoke earlier about the idea of a Green New Deal. And can you tell the audience, what does that mean?
So a Green New Deal is like the New Deal of the FDR era, where they were facing a depression and high unemployment. And we actually have much higher unemployment than the figures would suggest. There are probably 20 million people who need a full-time job, because so many of the jobs created have been part-time and temporary jobs. So while the unemployment rate is coming down, it really doesn't reflect that, people's needs are being met by any means. So in many ways, we're similar to that period of the Great Depression. They had a New Deal to fix it. We need a New Deal now, but we have another emergency as well, the emergency of the climate. So a Green New Deal would solve them both, putting everyone back to work, ensuring that everyone has the right to a living wage job. And many of those jobs would be focused on an emergency transition to 100% wind, water, and sun by 2030.
I want you to see the date is September 16, 2016, and here she is again talking about the Green New Deal. And we're talking about the origination and how the origination determines the implication. You can't have an implication of the Green New Deal without understanding the origination of the Green New Deal and how you cannot leave that out. To me, if you really want to go far in the Green New Deal and implement the Green New Deal, not a Green New Deal, you cannot leave out the Green Party. You got to embrace their ideas. Give me a moment. Let's play this.
Which is like the New Deal that got us out of the All for an emergency Green New Deal, which is like the New Deal that got us out of the Great Depression.
There are four basic categories of Jill Stein and the Green Party's New Deal. It promises an economic Bill of Rights, a green transition, real financial reform, and a functioning democracy. But what do those phrases even mean, and why tie this plan to FDR's New Deal? Well, we asked Jill Stein.
We have an economic emergency and we have a climate emergency. The only way we can solve them is together. The funding would be provided nationally, so it's national dollars, but it's not a cookie-cutter program created by Washington, D.C.
Stein hasn't really said how much all of this would cost, but she says paying for it would be easy. The deal relies on things like cutting military spending by 50%.
It's not getting us into a more secure place.
And freeing Americans from student loan debt by having the Federal Reserve basically erase it. Yeah, you heard me, erasing all the student debt.
How exactly are we going to create a working economy when an entire generation is held hostage by debt?
Now, the president can't give marching orders to the Fed. It's an independent agency. But the president does appoint the chair and other members, so it's possible to get like-minded Green New Deal lovers on the Fed. But say the Fed is on board, Stein would then need serious buy-in from a hyper-partisan Congress. And a third-party president isn't likely to have a lot of support on Capitol Hill.
You know, in the best-case scenario, we turn the White House into a greenhouse. And then we keep fighting because it's not going to be easy.
Not easy is right. Getting to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue would require a groundswell of public support like we've never really seen. And that's exactly what Stein is banking on.
We don't have to go quietly into this dark night. Americans are not going to do that. We're going to stand up.
For Newsy, I'm Eugene Daniels.
All right, now, she went into detail about some of the policies. So just watching this alone let you know that she is not a spoiler. She is not a Russian crony. And she's really serious about America becoming greater. Again, this is Jill Stein's website, and she's talking about the Green New Deal in the website. I can read all this, but I'm quite sure you can go and read into the green idea and what it'll do. But I'd rather her tell me what it would do for you people that are urchins and you like information. You go ahead and look at it yourself. I'm not an urchin. I'm a dolphin. I like to have fun. And I'm a shark. I like money. All right, so let's play this particular video.
So, as you know, the climate crisis has been entirely missing in action in the presidential debate between the two establishment parties. I want you to know that we can solve this problem with a political voice that's of, by, and for the people, that is not sponsored by the fossil fuel industry. We can, in fact, create an emergency jobs program that also solves the emergency of climate change. That's what the Green New Deal does. So it's like the New Deal that got us out of the Great Depression, but it's a Green New Deal, so it also solves the crisis of the climate. Essentially, it creates 20 million good-wage jobs that transition us on an emergency basis, on the scale of a wartime mobilization, to 100% clean renewable energy by 2030. That means jobs in clean renewable energy, in healthy and sustainable food systems, and in public transportation. These jobs not only revive the economy, turn the tide on climate change, they also make the friggin' wars for oil obsolete. That is what we are calling for. This is yet another reason to reject the lesser evil and to stand up and fight for the greater good, like our lives depend on it, because in fact they do.
Jill Stein's Green New Deal. You can go learn more about the Green New Deal by going to the greenparty.org website, and it goes into detail of the Green New Deal. Now, they do mention Ocasio-Cortez. I'll read a little bit. I think they are in support of it. Say Green Party members and supporters of participate in December 10th National Day Action of Sunrise Movement. Remember, the Sunrise Movement came to Nancy Pelosi's office, and Alexandria Cortez came out there in support. Now, this is my problem. You can't come out there and support and then try to co-opt it. Sunrise Movement came on behalf of the Green New Deal, pushed by the Green Party. So Sunrise Movement and others to urge Congress to adopt the Green New Deal resolution supported by Congresswoman elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others. While many candidates in 2018 used the phrase Green New Deal to highlight that a transition to renewable energy would help create living wage jobs, and his AOC proposal for the plan for 100% clean energy by 2030, single-payer health care, and other economic measures come much closer to the Green New Deal developed by the Green Party. It comes close to, they're saying, hey, what she's talking about is close to what we're doing. What is still left out is the necessity of degrowing the military-industrial complex and termination of the imperial agenda. That's one of the things that's missing out. That's why I said Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if you really care about America, you will meet with Jill Stein and get the full agenda of the Green New Deal, because it's just not about renewable energy. It goes beyond that. AOC proposal recognized that winning climate justice means also winning economic justice, a right to health care, housing, a livable wage job, education. Her proposal needs to be expanded, including an immediate halt to any new fossil fuel infrastructure, a focus on public ownership and democratic control of the energy system, and paying for it. By enacting a cut of 50% more in military budget, this is part of the Green New Deal. You got to cut 50% of the military budget. We're overblown. Compared to the nations of the world, we're spending too much money on a military complex. And I understand we want to have a superpower, we want to have a super army, but it don't take all this tax dollars going to it. So in order to make the Green New Deal work, you have to have 50% of the military budget cut. And that was from the state controller candidate, Mark Dunlea, who was running in New York. The Green Party and Alexandria Cortez both called for, together, they both called for just transition that empower those community and workers most impacted by climate change in the transition to the green economy. It would ensure that any worker is displaced by the shift away from fossil fuel while receiving full income and benefits as the transition to alternative work. Funding would also be targeted to low income and communities of color, most harmed by climate change. Green parties across the planet have used their role as junior partners in several national governments to push for a climate initiative such as enacting carbon taxes. Now, you can go into detail. I can read this whole thing. I don't want to bore you, but my whole thing with the Raw Report, even though I'm not the most educated man in the world, but I believe I have some wisdom. And I try to encourage you guys to read up on things yourself. Don't take my word for it. I'm lazy. I like audiobooks. I don't like to read regular paper books. But no, sometimes you guys got to get in and go into detail on this. Most of these subjects you can read for yourself. Now, here is when they came to Speaker Pelosi's office. This is from the Washington Post. Not a fan of the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos, you know I'm not a fan of Jeff Bezos, but let's go into it.
As a young person, I have come to know a world where climate change is not just a theory to accept or deny, but it is a global threat that we are already seeing.
Look at these young kids. This is so beautiful. The young kids are saying, if you older people not going to take this thing serious, we the one got to live here the next 50, 60 years. You're not going to mess up our planet.
The effects of.
It's called the Green New Deal, a platform pushed by some Democrats designed to tackle climate change while stimulating.
Platform produced by the Green Party, co-opted by some Democrats.
The economy. So, what exactly is it? The term Green New Deal, a throwback to President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal reforms and infrastructure programs, has been around for years. One of the earliest mentions was in 2007, in a column by the New York Times' Thomas Friedman. By 2008, the concept continued to evolve when then Green job czar Van Jones used the phrase to describe a plan to increase medium-skilled jobs in green sectors. The latest iteration, the one being championed most notably by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Now let me stop there. You see how the mainstream media did not even mention the Green Party, Jill Stein, Ajama Baraka, the great Ralph Nader. I say the great Ralph Nader because Ralph Nader has done a lot for America, and you need to do some investigation on Ralph Nader, not just them trying to shame him for spoiling the election against Bush and Gore. The man is an economic legend. He is a consumer advocate that has done a lot for America. And they did not even talk about it. But let me keep playing. They may still give Jill Stein some credit.
Is the one making waves.
Because we don't have a choice. We do not have a choice. We have to get to 100% renewable energy in 10 years. There is no other option.
Some of its aims include transitioning the country away from fossil fuels, decreasing the use of carbon in agriculture, transportation, and infrastructure, and aiming to make the economy carbon-free within 10 years. It also seeks to tackle income inequality through a federal jobs guarantee program that assures a, quote, living wage. Many other high-profile progressives, from freshman lawmakers like Rashida Tlaib and Pramila Jayapal to more establishment figures like John Lewis, have shown support. And activists like the Sunrise Movement and Justice Democrats have staged protests and sit-ins on Capitol Hill. Despite support for the creation of a select committee in Congress, Senate Republicans have openly criticized the effort, calling the measure expensive and, quote, impossible to afford. And despite having the majority in the House, Democrats have also pushed for climate-based reforms before, like in 2010, and lost.
So as you can see, that Jill Stein, the Green Party, really went into detail about the Green New Deal. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Green New Deal that she has is a Green New Deal. It is not the Green New Deal, and I don't want you guys to get it twisted. And to me, it really hurts me and really kind of pisses me off that she co-opted that, and I'm going to confront her about that. I voted for her. I voted for Jill Stein for president. I voted for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because in my district, I had no choice. Either it was her or Joe Crowley. And to me, one of the purposes of Justice Democrat, I wasn't crapping on him. I just was a little skeptical on can this be done. But I really was not going to let my vote go just sit by and not be used. I'm not that type of voter that I'm not going to vote. If I have to put a person's name in the slot like my name, I'm going to vote. But I know my name is not going to help push the narrative of certain progressive policies, so I voted for Ocasio-Cortez. And as a voter, I got the right to go and confront her. You may not have the right because you didn't vote her in. She's not in your district. She don't represent your district. So you might not have the option that I do to call her out, to put her on blast, to put her on the spot. Now, I've known Ocasio-Cortez. She has done great works before she even got recruited by the Justice Democrat in this area. I'm a watchful eye. I work with a lot of senators here in the community of New York City dealing with things like elder issues for fraud and things like that. I work with them. I'm an identity theft risk management specialist, a trainer on the subject of identity theft, and I go in the community and I talk consumer protection, and I have an organization called ID Theft Coalition, and that's all we do. And I'm changing the name to the Protection Coalition because we're going to go out there and protect our citizens in the United States from different kind of scams and stuff that goes on. So I work with these politicians. I've seen her work with these politicians on the ground. I've seen her work on the Bernie Sanders campaign. So I know in some cases she can be, most of the time she's genuine. Now I know a lot of my friends don't like her, but like I said, I know her. I don't know her. I never went out, ate dinner, but I've seen her in action before she got in the spotlight. Now she's in the spotlight. I see her in action. And now you're in the spotlight, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm going to have to put the spotlight on you. You represent my district and you represent this country. You are a media sensation right now. Everybody's talking about you. And you got to do the right thing. Your idea of a Green New Deal is just that, a Green New Deal. It doesn't go far fast enough. It doesn't. Now, I could go into detail and show the video when she unveiled the Green New Deal, but it's got to go further than what you recently proposed. One of the main things you got to focus on is cutting that military budget by 50%. One of the main things you got to cut on is getting a lot of that money into certain communities. Student loan debt release. A lot of things that Jill Stein talk about, this is the bottom line of this whole piece. You're an American citizen. You're working for the people, you say. Jill Stein has been out there as an activist fighting for the working class for a long time. And the reason most people don't know about that, because they don't want to put a spotlight on her, because she has been running for president the last 2 terms. They want to put a spotlight on an activist because they're afraid that grassroots movement, a swell up from the ground up, usually come from an activist running for office, such as Bernie Sanders, such as Jill Stein. People who actively go out there and push for the people on the ground floor. Jill Stein is always doing that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if you want to really push the Green New Deal, you need to get with the originators, campaign with them, connect with them. Don't just co-opt. I hate co-opters. Right now, one of the things that's ticking me off in media, in political land, is these co-opters in the Democratic Party trying to co-opt Bernie Sanders' message. Some of them co-opting Jill Stein's message, trying to bring it to the Democratic Party. And it would be good if they were genuine. Cory Booker is not genuine. Kamala Harris is not genuine. Gillibrand is not genuine. Amy Klobuchar, she's not genuine. How do you know? Because they only started jumping on board this thing when it came to presidential aspiration, not when they first got elected. It wasn't part of their platform when they ran to get into Congress. Now they're running for office for the presidency. They want to go as left as they can because they know that's where the ground swell up is. That's where the votes are. And that's the way you're going to win. You don't do that, you're going to lose. So, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, do the right thing. Stop co-opting this. Stop acting like this is yours and you came up with this. You know, when I take these glasses off, I'm about to talk to you for real. Stop acting like you came up with this and give Jill Stein credit. Partner with the Green Party. Take off your party hats. Partner with all kind of organizations. Get you a round table. Make Jill Stein your This is what I hate about politics. Because if she goes that way, they're definitely going to try to do whatever they can to get her out. Because they don't want to bring Jill Stein in the forefront in their party because they see her as a threat to their party. They see her as a threat to killing the Democratic Party. Look, right now, y'all need to kill all that noise. Because this ain't about your freaking party. That's why I'm an independent, because I can't stand that crap posturing for your party, your team. When the world is dying, the planet is dying. While y'all fighting for green, fighting for red, fighting for blue, there's a crisis in hand, and it needs to be dealt with. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez need to get some guts, some grit, some balls, and buck up against the Democratic Party and say, today I will be meeting with Jill Stein of the Green Party. They've been talking about the Green New Deal for decades. I'm going to be working with her to implement, get some ideas on what else we need to make this thing happen. You may shun me, Democratic Party, you may cast me out, you may go ahead and primary me, but I'm here for the sake of the planet and I'm here for the sake of the people. I put people over profit. And I will be partnering with Jill Stein. Matter of fact, I'm forming a round table on the Green New Deal, not just mine, but the new Green Deal. And she's going to sit on here and partner with me. I'm going to listen to her. She's going to listen to me, and we're going to work together to implement the Green New Deal. Now, Jill Stein, being the gracious, wonderful woman she is, she don't mind Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez co-opting that and pushing it in the forefront and leading on that. She don't. She's just that type of person. And I myself and other friends of the Green Party, we're kind of upset that she's taking this, co-opting this, and making this her own. Like I said, Jill Stein don't mind you pushing it because it's all about planet over parties of people when it comes to her. But to not include her, to not partner with her, and not give her props, not even mention her name when you start talking this is very disrespectful, very dishonorable, and it shows to me that you're willing to protect your party over protecting the planet. Now, I know I'm going to lose some subscribers, but I never came on here for subscribers. And I appreciate the amount of swell up of subscribers I got. But I got to tell you the truth, and I'm always trying my best to be truthful for you, with you. When things don't go right and I see it ain't go right, I'm going to come up here and talk about it. This is wrong to go out there and talk about the so-called the Green New Deal when your Green New Deal is not the Green New Deal, it's a Green New Deal. To go out there and push that and not even recognizing the Green New Deal that already exists, that majority of your proposal in the Green New Deal fit with theirs and not include them. To me, that's just as bad as, you stealing somebody's beat. Stealing somebody's lyrics, stealing somebody's wife, man, or stealing somebody's husband. To me, that's just as bad. So yes, I will be there when she comes to town in the Bronx, and I will talk to her about this. But I'm putting this on blast, and I wish you guys can share it all over media. That if you want to call yourself a person that's really, really for saving the planet, you need to connect with the people that's been about saving the planet before you even got in the race. And that's Jill Stein. To not do so, AOC, will make you a thief.